The South China Sea, a critical maritime region, has long been a nexus of geopolitical tension. Among the various contested territories within this region, Sabina Shoal stands out as a flashpoint in the enduring conflict between China and the Philippines.
Chinese Coast Guard now has elevated the tension and the level of their aggression as well towards the Philippine Coast Guard vessel. This is the first time.
This seemingly inconspicuous atoll has garnered significant strategic importance, making it a focal point of maritime confrontations and international diplomatic discourse. Sabina Shoal, known as Jianbin Reef in China, and Escoda Shoal in the Philippines, is part of the Spratly Islands, an archipelago that has become emblematic of the broader territorial disputes in the South China Sea. The shoal's location, adjacent to vital sea lanes and near potential energy resources, makes it a valuable asset for any state that seeks to assert control over the region. However, its strategic importance goes beyond mere geographic location. It is a symbol of national sovereignty, a potential military outpost, and a key to energy security. In this extended analysis, we will explore the geostrategic significance of Sabina Shoal, examining the historical context of the South China Sea dispute, the strategic interests of the involved parties, the role of external powers, and the implications for regional stability and international law. The South China Sea is one of the most contested maritime regions in the world, with overlapping claims from China, the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Brunei. These claims are rooted in a complex web of historical narratives, legal arguments, and strategic calculations. China's claim over the South China Sea is based on the so-called Nine-Dash Line, a demarcation that dates back to the 1940s. This line encompasses almost the entire South China Sea, including the Spratly and Paracel Islands, and is drawn from ancient Chinese maps and historical records. However, this claim has been widely disputed by other littoral states and was invalidated by the Permanent Court of Arbitration, PCA, in The Hague in 2016. The PCA ruled that China's claims have no legal basis under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, a treaty to which China is a signatory. The Philippines, on the other hand, bases its claim on both historical rights and UNCLOS, which grants coastal states sovereign rights over the resources within their 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone, EEZ. According to this framework, Sabina Shoal falls well within the Philippines' EEZ. The 2016 PCA ruling was a significant legal victory for the Philippines, as it affirmed its rights over the waters surrounding Sabina Shoal and other features in the Spratly Islands. However, enforcing this ruling has proven to be a daunting challenge, given China's military and economic dominance in the region. Beyond its military value, Sabina Shoal holds significant economic importance, particularly in the context of energy security. The South China Sea is believed to contain vast reserves of oil and natural gas, with estimates ranging from 11 billion to 190 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. While these figures are subject to considerable uncertainty, the potential energy resources in the region are a major driver of the ongoing disputes. Sabina Shoal is located near Recto Bank, Reed Bank, an area that is believed to hold substantial reserves of oil and natural gas. For the Philippines, access to these resources is vital for its long-term energy security, especially as its existing energy reserves are dwindling. Former Philippine Supreme Court Associate Justice Antonio Carpio has emphasized the importance of defending Sabina Shoal from potential Chinese construction, warning that losing control of the shoal could jeopardize the country's energy security for decades. China, too, has a strong interest in the energy resources of the South China Sea. As the world's largest importer of oil and a major consumer of natural gas, China views the South China Sea as a crucial source of energy to fuel its growing economy. Control over Sabina Shoal and other features in the Spratly Islands would allow China to secure access to these resources, reducing its dependence on foreign energy supplies and enhancing its strategic autonomy. However, the pursuit of these energy resources is fraught with risks. The South China Sea is a contested region, and any attempt to explore or exploit its resources is likely to provoke strong reactions from other claimants. The potential for conflict over energy resources adds another layer of complexity to the already volatile situation in the South China Sea. The Philippines finds itself in a precarious position in the South China Sea dispute. On one hand, it has a strong legal case, backed by the 2016 PCA ruling, which affirms its rights over the waters surrounding Sabina Shoal and other features in the Spratly Islands. On the other hand, the Philippines faces a formidable opponent in China whose military and economic power far exceeds that of Manila. This disparity in power has forced the Philippines to adopt a cautious and pragmatic approach. While the Philippine government continues to assert its legal rights, it must also navigate the realities of power politics, diplomatic engagement, multilateral cooperation, and strengthening its defense capabilities are essential strategies for Manila to protect its claims without provoking further conflict. However, these strategies are not without their challenges. Diplomatic engagement with China has yielded mixed results, with periods of relative calm interspersed with flare-ups of tension. Multilateral efforts, such as the ASEAN-China negotiations on a code of conduct in the South China Sea, have made some progress, but the lack of a binding agreement limits their effectiveness. Meanwhile, the Philippines' defense capabilities, though improving, remain limited compared to China's formidable military assets.
压倒敌人，不惧一切强敌的这种英勇气概，这才是我们强军的魂。那么强大的军队呢，是这样一步一步走过来的。有了先进的飞机、防空武器。
Given its limited capabilities, the Philippines has sought support from external powers, notably the United States and Japan. The U.S., as a long-standing ally and security partner of the Philippines, has played a crucial role in supporting Manila's position in the South China Sea. The U.S. has provided military aid, conducted joint exercises with the Philippine Armed Forces, and reaffirmed its commitment to the Mutual Defense Treaty, which obligates the U.S. to come to the Philippines' aid in the event of an armed attack. Japan, too, has deepened its security cooperation with the Philippines, providing maritime patrol vessels and other forms of assistance. Japan shares the Philippines' concerns about China's maritime assertiveness, as it has its own territorial disputes with China in the East China Sea. While this external support has bolstered the Philippines' position, it also carries risks. The involvement of external powers could escalate the situation, transforming the South China Sea dispute from a regional conflict into a broader international confrontation. Moreover, the Philippines must balance its reliance on external support with the need to maintain its sovereignty and avoid being drawn into the strategic rivalry between the U.S. and China.
Facing the complex challenges of our time requires concerted efforts on everyone's part, a dedication to a common purpose, and an unwavering commitment to the rules-based international order.
China's claims in the South China Sea are rooted in a combination of historical narratives and strategic imperatives. Beijing asserts that the South China Sea has been an integral part of Chinese territory for centuries, based on ancient maps and historical records. This narrative is deeply ingrained in Chinese nationalism, making the South China Sea dispute a matter of national pride and sovereignty. However, China's actions in the South China Sea are also driven by strategic calculations. The South China Sea is a critical maritime artery, through which a significant portion of the world's trade passes. It is also a gateway to the Indian Ocean, a region of growing strategic importance for China's energy security and global influence. Control over the South China Sea, including Sabina Shoal, would allow China to secure its maritime periphery, protect its sea lines of communication, and enhance its ability to project power in the region. It would also give China a strategic advantage over other claimants, allowing it to dominate the region's energy resources and exert influence over the maritime activities of neighboring states. China's strategy in the South China Sea is characterized by the use of maritime militia and gray zone tactics. The maritime militia, composed of fishing vessels and other civilian boats, operates under the command of the People's Liberation Army, PLA, and is used to assert China's claims without escalating the situation to open conflict. These vessels often engage in provocative actions, such as ramming other ships, blocking resupply missions, and harassing foreign vessels, all while maintaining plausible deniability. Gray zone tactics, which operate in the space between war and peace, allow China to achieve its strategic objectives without crossing the threshold of armed conflict. By maintaining a constant presence in disputed areas, conducting land reclamation activities, and deploying Coast Guard vessels to monitor foreign activities, China gradually consolidates its control over the South China Sea.
In accordance with international and Philippine national laws, we are proceeding according to our plan.
These tactics have been particularly effective in the case of Sabina Shoal. Chinese Coast Guard ships and fishing boats have maintained a persistent presence in the area, deterring Philippine vessels from asserting control over the shoal. Meanwhile, China has continued to strengthen its position in other parts of the South China Sea, building artificial islands and military installations that reinforce its claims. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, has played a central role in the diplomatic efforts to manage the South China Sea dispute. ASEAN has sought to maintain regional stability through dialogue and cooperation, promoting the peaceful resolution of disputes and the adoption of a code of conduct in the South China Sea. However, ASEAN's effectiveness has been limited by internal divisions and the lack of a binding agreement on the South China Sea. While some ASEAN members, such as Vietnam and the Philippines, have taken a strong stance against China's actions, others, such as Cambodia and Laos, have been more inclined to support Beijing, often due to economic dependence on China. This lack of consensus has hampered ASEAN's ability to present a united front and has limited the impact of its diplomatic efforts. International law, particularly UNCLOS, provides a legal framework for resolving disputes in the South China Sea. The 2016 PCA ruling was a landmark decision that affirmed the Philippines' rights over the waters surrounding Sabina Shoal and invalidated China's claims based on the 9-dash line. However, the ruling has had limited impact on the ground, as China has refused to recognize it and continues to assert its claims through other means. The inability to enforce international law in the South China Sea highlights the limitations of legal mechanisms in resolving complex geopolitical disputes. While legal rulings can provide a basis for diplomatic negotiations and bolster the legitimacy of a state's claims, they are often insufficient to compel compliance from more powerful states. In the case of Sabina Shoal, the Philippines' legal victory has not translated into effective control over the shoal, as China's military and economic power far outweighs the legal arguments in favor of Manila. The ongoing dispute over Sabina Shoal has significant implications for regional stability. The South China Sea is a critical maritime region, not only for the littoral states, but also for global trade and energy security. Any escalation of the conflict could have far-reaching consequences, disrupting shipping lanes, exacerbating regional tensions, and potentially drawing in external powers. For the Philippines, the challenge lies in balancing its legal rights and national interests with the realities of power politics. Diplomatic engagement, multilateral cooperation, and strengthening its defense capabilities are crucial strategies for Manila to protect its claims without provoking further conflict. For China, the pursuit of its claims must be weighed against the risk of regional isolation and international condemnation. While Beijing's assertiveness may secure short-term gains, it also threatens to drive its neighbors closer to external powers, thereby complicating its long-term strategic objectives. Ultimately, the future of Sabina Shoal, like the broader South China Sea dispute, will be shaped by the evolving dynamics of power, law, and diplomacy in the region. As long as these factors remain in flux, the question of who really owns Sabina Shoal will continue to be a matter of international debate and contention. Sabina Shoal is more than just a small atoll in the South China Sea. It is a microcosm of the broader geopolitical struggle in the region. Its strategic significance, both in terms of military value and energy resources, makes it a critical asset for any state that seeks to assert control over the South China Sea. However, the dispute over Sabina Shoal is not merely a legal or territorial issue. It is a reflection of the broader geopolitical contest in the region where national interest, historical narratives, and the balance of power converge. For the Philippines, defending its claims over Sabina Shoal is a matter of national sovereignty and energy security. However, achieving this goal requires navigating the complex realities of power politics, where legal rights are often overshadowed by military and economic might. For China, asserting control over Sabina Shoal is part of a broader strategy to dominate the South China Sea, but this pursuit carries significant risks, both in terms of regional stability and international relations. The dispute over Sabina Shoal, like the broader South China Sea conflict, is unlikely to be resolved in the near future. The overlapping claims, historical grievances, and the involvement of major powers make the situation highly complex and sensitive as the dynamics of power, law, and diplomacy continue to evolve.
刘哥好，来这里有2天了，适应。
I hope we can have a...
The geostrategic significance of Sabina Shoal will remain a focal point of international attention and a potential flashpoint for conflict in the region. Thank you for tuning into our channel. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth analysis of global issues.